No deal. Now, with Salem in a standstill, just how many bills are going to get stuck? I'll give you a hint. It's a lot, like more than 200. And the death of one of those bills could make a bad situation even worse, just a few blocks from the Capitol. Plus, we're digging into the KGW vault for Women's History Month. And, oh yeah, I'm back, baby. Here's the story.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Hi, it's me, Dan Haggerty. I got my name on the show right over there. That's me. Did you miss me? Probably not. I missed you. I was on vacation for a few days. I was at the beach. I was with my family. No, I don't tan. Thank you for noticing. A big thank you to Maggie Vespa, who was filling in for me, and I'm watching on my phone from the beach going, she's doing well. A little too well. But hey, guess what? She didn't go far. She's still here. She's going to do a story for us in just a couple of minutes. But for now, you're stuck with me, and I'm ready to jump back into the conversation with you. So pick up your phone, tweet us, email us, Facebook us, do it all throughout the show. Use the hashtag HeyDan on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts, your questions, your concerns, and we'll help to get them answered. So statistics can be confusing, like the information we got from state health officials today about the coronavirus just a few hours ago. I read some headlines afterward that said Oregon's coronavirus numbers remain stable, which at first I thought, man, that sounds like really great news, except for the fact that the state also told us that they're only testing a very small percentage of sick people, only the sickest of the sick people, actually. A lot of you have questions about testing. A woman named Kay wrote me and said that she went to her doctor with all the textbook symptoms for coronavirus and got turned away. She said, hey, Dan, when I tell people that I asked to be tested and the doctor said no, everyone is shocked. Well, we learned today that the only way for Kay to get tested would be if she got so sick that the hospital admitted her. She would have to have a viral lung infection, something like viral pneumonia. Then and only then would she even get a test. And still, her results could be delayed by an overwhelmed system. Here's kind of how it breaks down. Oregon gets 80 tests a day. And while that sounds like a decent amount, each person must be tested twice. So that's only 40 people. Oregon asked the federal government for more tests, and apparently more are on the way, but that may not matter. Right now, of those 80 tests a day, the labs in Oregon can only process 10 to 20 of them. So even if the feds do send us more tests, we right now don't have the resources to even use them, meaning for now, the only people who will be tested will already be isolated in a hospital bed by the time we even know what they have. All right, let's talk about our big story tonight, Oregon's short session that got even shorter. The Republican-Democrat super fight over cap and trade ended with a no mas 3 days early. In 32 days, faced with more than 200 bills, lawmakers passed 3 of them. Just 3 bills from this short session will go to the governor's desk. 3. Now, if you don't follow politics, that's not a lot. So here's what happened today. The Republicans who walked out over cap and trade offered to come back on Sunday, the last official day of the session, to pass emergency budget bills, nothing else. But Democrats said, no dice, not going to do it. Then Democrats decided to adjourn, meaning that they're not going to even go to the floor for sessions now. It's over. That effectively means it all comes to an end. That brings us to our dual quote of the day, where it seems after all this, Democrats and Republicans can finally agree on something.
This is a failed short session.
I think this session was a failure, and we failed Oregonians.
So the word of the day is failure, I guess, if you ask lawmakers. Len Bergstein joining us now, political analyst. So look, whether you want to call this session a failure or not, let's talk about the political system in general here now that this walkout strategy seems to be effective and used routinely at this point. What's this mean big picture?
Well, it is a big picture problem, but it's politics. Some people like to fix the problem and some people like to fix the blame. There's plenty of blame to go around. And to answer your question, the Speaker of the House said the Republicans are to be blamed because they failed to show up. They corroded democracy by failing to show up. The President of the Senate says, well, wait a minute, you've kneecapped our democracy by undermining the power of the legislature, and that's a big problem. So what the big picture here is how our politics come out of this. How do you put Humpty Dumpty back together, both on the policy and the way the government functions?
So special session, right? That could be called, what does that mean?
Well, a special session is the governor's power to, in conjunction with the legislative leadership, to say, come back in for a short period of time and fix some things. It's an unstated amount of time that you come in. Usually governors like to make the solution so that it'll be a one-day solution, get in and get out or whatever. This is going to take some time. There's too many good issues, you alluded to it in the setup, to leave on the table. There's a lot of really important policy issues that the legislature's got to take care of.
The big issue, though, is cap and trade. We've been hearing from all of the people writing in using, hey, Dan, this is the one that everyone's discussing. This is also the one the governor said she would use executive power to maybe enact here. How does that work exactly? That's something she would bring up in the special session, correct?
Well, executive orders are something that the governor can do by executive power. She can kind of set her agencies in motion to pass rules and so on and so forth. The problem there is sometimes an over-regulated approach on this topic can turn some of the companies and some of the interests that have been on our side into adversaries. So, and in fact, there's some limits to what an executive order can do. Plus, the fundamental question, I believe, has to do with all the fossil fuels and gas tax, and that's not something that's easily handled by an executive order.
Got it. Hey, you mentioned all of the other important bills that we were talking about right off the top. Let's take a quick look at all of the bills that have not passed, and the list goes on and on and on and on. If you're wondering how far it goes on, 255 of them in all, only 3 bills, as we mentioned earlier, got to the governor's desk. This seems like a very large amount of bills, and one of the things the Republicans have been saying is this is a short session. You're throwing cap and trade at us and 250 plus other bills. Does that seem excessive for a short session?
Well, some people say that we tried to put a gallon's worth of public policy into a pint jar, and that's a legitimate critique, except that all of these issues, almost every one of them, probably would be passed either by consensus or by large majorities. They're the kinds of issues that need to be dealt with in our state. There are issues that have to do with fire safety. There are issues that have to do with aerial spraying. They're all consensus issues. Homeless issues, a variety of monies for capital construction on our college campuses. A lot of these budgets and issues would have been passed by an overwhelming majority. So I don't buy the argument that says that these were too contentious or this is the thing that stopped the session.
I want to hone in on one of the things you brought up there, one of the really big issues, and it's one of the bills that will most likely be dead, and it's the one dealing with the homeless crisis. Here's Maggie Vespa.
All right, so the bill that I want to drill down on would have given the city of Salem and other cities in Oregon millions of dollars basically to help homeless people. And it just so happens in the last couple of days, we've gotten 2 disturbing glimpses of what life on the streets of Salem can be like. So first up, a video from Snapchat.
You got any money? No money. You got any money? No.
What you're watching is basically a group of what appear to be teenagers robbing a homeless man who was sleeping in the doorway of a Salem church. It looks like they have a gun, and it's clear they're not ashamed. They filmed and posted the entire thing. Salem police are looking into it. Then, just hours ago today, this disturbing headline from the Statesman Journal emerged. They're reporting a homeless woman gave birth on a sidewalk in downtown Salem. It happened mid-morning on a Tuesday last month near the entrance to a Rite Aid. The paper reporting the baby is now in DHS custody.
Okay, so both of those stories are horrible, and this issue obviously is complex. In fact, everyone we've ever talked to about homelessness just agrees there's no clear fix.
What is clear? The state legislature was on the brink of allocating millions to Salem and other cities. Money that is now in jeopardy. Specifically, $5 million would have gone to Salem alone, thanks to House Bill 4001. The money would have helped the city build a navigation center, which is basically like a one-stop shop where people can go and get connected to the social service or agency best equipped to help them. But the walkout and the squabbling over Republicans' offer to come back for a day has put that money and this bill on life support. Now, to be clear, Salem is already struggling. We reported earlier this week city leaders promised to open 140 shelter beds by the new year and failed, only opening 10. They tried starting a car camping program as well, but that's made zero impact because no one has volunteered to host people living in their cars. The council has already banned tents, and now they're considering banning sitting on the sidewalk during the day. We'll know more at their next meeting on Monday.
For now, city reps say this won't change their plans for that meeting, but they're not happy.
City Councilor Chris Hoy wrote, "We need this critical navigation center to humanely address this crisis." He added people in Salem are counting on elected leaders to lead, not abandon us. City Councilor Vanessa Nordyke wrote, "If we do not receive this state funding, it will come at the expense of our downtown business community and the needs of our unsheltered."
All right, so as you guys just showed, there are a ton of bills that are dying potentially, but Democratic leaders in Salem were just asked about this bill in particular, and here's what the Senate president, who represents the city of Salem, had to say.
We have a homeless crisis that's really bad, featured on Channel 8. It's really, really bad. And I can tell you, my city and my county can't do it. They need the help of the state.
All right, so we were not expecting that shout out, but again, they're paying close attention to this.
So they have this emergency board meeting on Monday where they're going to talk about some emergency budget issues.
Right.
But this is really, really high level stuff. We're talking about money for flood victims or funding the coronavirus, things like that. Will this fall in that level of that category?
So unfortunately, we've been told no. The House Speaker Tina Kotek said, in short, this bill in particular is just more complicated than a budget item. And here's what she had to say about that.
That bill needed to pass because it gave supersiding authority to local government to build more additional shelter space. So we need the bill. That can only happen in a special session.
All right, so if they have a special session, basically they'll have to start this all over again, and we'll of course let you know if they take up this bill again at that time.
And in the special session, that's the moment where the governor would take executive action and put this executive order in place. Now, this is something a lot of you have been asking questions about. We had Len touch on it just a moment ago, but it is complex, big time. We're currently working on breaking that down for you so you can understand. Maggie, thank you.
Absolutely.
Trying to get hand sanitizer or cleaning supplies at the store right now, I mean, good luck. But if you want, can you make your own? We're going to consult scientist Matt Zaffino when the story continues.
Welcome back. I'm going to say a statement here that you can all agree with. You cannot find hand sanitizer anywhere. As soon as coronavirus hit Oregon, stores started running out. The news loves showing you all these empty shelves, which makes you just want to run out and look for even more. So at this point, even Amazon is running low or on back order. The best deal I could find on the Let Go app was a 12-pack for $80. So a lot of people have been turning to rubbing alcohol, which is also selling out. Some stores will actually only sell you a bottle or two tops. Why? Well, people are making their own hand sanitizer. But this is like baking, all right? It's not like cooking. You need to be precise with your ingredients, and that's why Tito's Vodka posted this on Twitter saying their vodka does not have enough alcohol in it to work as an effective hand sanitizer per the CDC guidelines. So look, bottom line, don't try to wash your hands with vodka. Just drink it the old-fashioned way. All right, how do you make your own hand sanitizer? Luckily, we got a scientist who works here and is going to have a little science fair project for us right now. At the end, does the volcano explode or what?
You know what? You can use vodka, but use it to drink while you're doing this. That's the way you do that. All right, so basically, hand sanitizer is usually made up of three things. You got your rubbing alcohol, you use a little hydrogen peroxide, that's H2O2, and then the glycerin, or that's like the aloe vera. That's the kind of, that kind of
And this is all like Walgreens.
Absolutely.
Kind of stuff.
In fact, our producer went and got all of this at like Walgreens. Right. So we'll start with the glycerin. This is 6 ounces, so we're just going to take this, open this baby up and just kind of we've got the
oh man, who's in charge of prep?
Right? So we got to take this thing off. So.
Walk me through what else we got here. The hydrogen peroxide. Do we have to start with this stuff?
There now it's open. All right, so we're going to dump. Now it doesn't matter, just kind of pour it all in there, and this is 6 ounces, so we're going to start with 6 ounces of that. Here, that's that stuff, right? Then you throw in the alcohol, and you want it to be about 1/3 of that and 2/3 of alcohol, okay? Because this is the stuff that actually kills the germs. We got 16 ounces here, so we'll just eyeball it. Oh, again, really? It's good to have safety glasses on, right?
I need a whole outfit
so then
for this.
Throw that in like that, and we're going to mix it. Let's go a little bit more. And then the hydrogen peroxide is interesting. This doesn't actually kill the virus. This is to kill the spores in the solution we're making. So this is to sanitize the sanitizer, if you will.
Okay, interesting.
And once again, we've got the annoying little...
Just go ahead and give it the stab. This is the best part of this.
I know, right? Oh, this is a tough one. Come on. I don't have any fingernails. There we go. Okay, we got that off. So then what we'll do is we'll use this to measure that. That was the glycerol, right? So we'll throw a bunch of that in. Oops, shaky hand. It's the vodka. Go about like that. That looks about right. And then the water you use just to clean things up if it gets messy, which It hasn't really. So we're going to mix this together. Mixy, mixy. Look at that. Don't you want to just slather that all over your hands?
I tell you what,
That's just going to keep you. That's going to keep you from getting the coronavirus or anything else. I can feel it on the cuts of my hands. Then we'll pour it in this jar here.
This is going to be clean.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Perfect.
We'll do that. Then we're going to mix it up. And then here's the other key about this, Dan. See, we have homemade hand sanitizer right here, just like that.
Good.
Huh?
That's good. Yeah.
Then you have to quarantine this for 72 hours. 72 to let the hydrogen peroxide kill any impurities within the solution.
Okay.
So quarantine it before you get quarantined.
Wow, how was that? You know, oftentimes we record segments on this show in order to make them look really clean. That's one of the ones we probably should have recorded. But
I totally disagree.
I like it better the way
I like
it
it live. Yeah, I mean, you know, these things were the bugaboo, those little tabs we didn't pull up, but you know.
Thank you.
Good
Look,
times.
at the end of the day, though, hand sanitizer isn't really your best defense against this virus.
Right, it's not your first line of defense. You want to wash your hands. This is secondary.
Good old-fashioned hand washing as described in this amazing PSA from Washington that you just love to see. Take a look.
We love soap so much we scrub for fun. We'll wash your hands in time. This is the state of the evergreen and impeccable hygiene. We love it when our hands are clean.
Wash your hands and Tonians or...
It's Women's History Month, so we're celebrating the women who made Oregon, well, Oregon. So we're opening up the KGW vault when the story continues.
March is Women's History Month, and we're going to go ahead and open up the KGW Vault to honor some of Oregon's most influential women. First, whether you know it or not, she probably played a role in your childhood. Beverly Cleary, author of beloved children's characters like Ramona Quimby and Ralph S. Mouse. She was born in rural Oregon and moved to Portland when she was young. Now, 103, she has never lost her famous wit. Here's what she told the Today Show when asked about turning 100.
You're about to turn 100.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Well, I didn't do it on purpose.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
She sold millions of books as an author. Cleary also always said that her greatest achievement was getting kids to read. So it's no surprise that there's a school even named after her in Northeast Portland. All it takes is a walk around Portland's trendiest neighborhood to see the legacy of our next great Oregon woman, Vera Katz, Portland's visionary former mayor. When she started her first of 3 terms in 1993, the Rose City, some would say, was more of a sleepy backwater town, but her focus on transforming areas like the Pearl District and emphasis on public transportation and support for progressive causes arguably helped put the Portlandia craze in motion. Described as a force through her life, she was born to Russian exiles in Germany in 1933. She escaped the Nazis. She fought cancer. She was a natural leader throughout it all. Vera Katz passed away in 2017. And then there's Maureen Neuberger, who to this day remains the only woman from Oregon to be elected to the United States Senate. Chosen in 1960, at the time she was only the 4th woman in U.S. history to hold a Senate seat. Politics were also a family affair, you could say, for her. The seat she won in 1960 that was previously held by her husband, Richard Neuberger, who died from cancer at just 47 years old that year. And if you're a sports fan, you should know that Oregon's female athletes have pushed boundaries and broken glass ceilings for more than 100 years. Nina Melhoff has a look at some of them.
In 1920, Thelma Payne became the first Oregon woman to compete at an Olympic Games. The Portland diver won a bronze medal, and it wasn't long before other Oregon women made their mark. In 1947, Margaret Osborne DuPont became the #1 tennis player in the world. The Joseph, Oregon native went on to win 37 Grand Slam titles, placing her 5th on the all-time list. And that's just the beginning, because Oregon women have conquered literal mountains. In 1988, Stacey Allison from Woodburn made history when she climbed more than 29,000 feet to the summit of Mount Everest, the first American woman to do it.
Often, you will be the only person who who sees your success. You can't depend on accolades, external accolades. You have to depend on what's deep down inside you.
Some have known Oregon their entire lives.
The tradition here is rich and passionate, and I was just more proud to have my teammates come here and play in front of what I've always known Portland to be, and that's a soccer city.
Oh, a little ball through to Milbridge. She's looking for the hat trick, and she's got it! 9 minutes into the game.
While others have made it their home.
And the kicker, and then Christine puts it away. The Portland Pilots win their first national championship in overtime.
Sinclair scores! Christine Sinclair giving Portland a 2-0 advantage, and that just might seal the first National Women's Soccer League title.
And now the next generation of Oregon athletes takes the stage, building on those who came before them.
I've had people doubt my abilities as a female athlete just because I'm a female, and that's not cool, because we can do everything that the men can do, and sometimes even better, and sometimes even pregnant. It says a lot about the attitude that you have to have, where it's like, I don't really care what other people think. I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to be sweaty, and I'm going to be fierce, and I'm just going to do me, and that's all that matters, because I'm here to win.
Joining the history books, one record at a time.
She has just become the first player in Division I history with 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, and 1,000 rebounds, a historic mark set by Sabrina Ionescu.
The past leading the way for the future, and the future for Oregon athletes looks bright.
Hey, thanks to Nina. That was great. Now, look, we just spent the past little bit talking about women in history, but why don't we take a little look forward? This photo here going viral today applauds women for their recent advances in politics. It shows Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, Tulsi Gabbard, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Kamala Harris together last summer during the early stages of their presidential campaigns. Only Gabbard remains in the race, and though she's not doing so well in the polls right now, people are still, of course, inspired by the strength of these candidates as they move forward toward one day getting a woman in the White House. Anything you want to see from the KGW Vault, grab your phone, shoot us an email, maybe a tweet, use the hashtag HeyDan. We also check Facebook messages, email, whatever. Just reach out, say hi. All right, we're going to read some of your comments and finish the story when we come back. All right, finally tonight, you know how whenever there's a snowstorm's about to hit, Portlanders, they resort to buying literally all of the kale? Well, now people are stockpiling over fears of coronavirus, and apparently tastes have changed a little bit. This Reddit post showing that the Winco in Hillsborough is all out of tortilla chips, gone, empty bags for as far as the eye could see. Like someone pointed out in the comments, though, nothing stops the spread of a contagious virus quite like shareable finger foods. Hey, let's talk about some comments tonight. A lot of you people writing in using the hashtag HeyDan. We got one on email. Somebody at thestory@kgw.com. Democrats and their cap and trade scam is nothing good for Oregonians. All Republicans should stay firm and boycott any effort to move this nonsense forward. Well, there are a lot of people who agree with you, enough to stop the entire short session. Hey, let's look at the other side of it, though. Marty Jewell on Facebook saying, hey, Dan, will the Republicans that walked off the job be paid? We're going to keep digging in. We'll answer all your questions on cap and trade. Let's look at both sides of the coin when it comes to the story here with Dan Haggerty. Kevin writing in and saying, thanks for producing a great Portland news show. Hashtag KGW has elevated the game. And then we got Brenda Dunn saying she has a bit of a traveling buzzkill coming back from a week in New Orleans, and KGW News is still airing the story with Dan Haggerty here in Portland. That's right. Hopefully they keep doing it for a while. And hopefully you keep watching, Brenda, even if you don't like it. That's okay. Keep writing in. Keep telling us your comments, thoughts, feelings, everything you got. The story. We'll be back tomorrow.
This is KGW.